Hello, welcome to our podcast. Today we're going to be talking about participatory culture. I'm Kate.
I'm Dominic.
I'm Hayden.
All right, I'll be starting us off with my opinion. So one example that came to mind with me for participatory culture is power scaling. Online, there's this concept called power scaling where people try to look into fictional characters or sometimes even real life things to figure out like scientifically like how powerful they are. This creates a lot of trends and stuff where people debate this. Like one person may believe one thing is one person may believe another thing, and they'll debate using science and math to like try and extrapolate fictional things to real world science, which doesn't always work perfectly, but what we're talking about today certainly does. It's a debate about whether one gorilla could beat 100 humans. This was a popular debate earlier this year online. There are a lot of different perspectives. There are some people who believe that a gorilla is a very like mighty creature that it could defeat like humans, so no chance against it. And then there are other people who believe that humans even without weapons, just with so much mass, could defeat a gorilla. It created a lot of debate, but I think it brought up some interesting like showing of how like algorithms and stuff create trends around even relatively benign and simple topics. Like this is almost kind of like a middle school debate type thing where it's like something you discuss on the playground, but it became popular among even like adults and stuff just because of the nature of the debate. So like for example, the some people like said like they like went into the science and math of like how like much a gorilla can lift and stuff, and they like went over facts about how much gorillas weigh, and they talked about facts about nature. So like that can educate people into how nature works through this like fictional trend and stuff that like educates people about this kind of thing. But there's also like the algorithm like taking advantage of people's attention, and it can even spread misinformation. Like for example, making gorillas seem more scarier than they are. Like the movie Jaws has like created this scare around sharks for a while. Like lots of people started hunting and killing sharks because they were afraid of the shark from the movie Jaws and how it was like tearing for the boats and stuff. They believed that real sharks were so dangerous that they could like sink a ship and stuff. And it created this big manhunt for sharks and stuff, and it led to like a lot of ecosystem damage as people like hunted down and killed sharks. The potential same thing could happen with gorillas if people believe gorillas are really dangerous and could kill people. Um, but but there's also it can also teach people to like really look at these animals and become interested in them, and like maybe through this like silly like power scaling debate they could become interested in real like nature science and how to like look more into these animals and become interested in like the nature of stuff and like get into that kind of field that can lead them to more like educational pursuits. So do you guys have any comments about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I really like the part where you went into detail about algorithms and you highlighted it multiple times. And it really makes you think like the algorithms, like they don't directly guide you, but like inadvertently over like the course of time, that repetitive like notion you can get from algorithms as it like loops you in, that will change how you think, how you see see the world around you. And like you said, it can make you interested. And you've also seen like examples that can make people polarized in a way. And I just think that's very highlighted area. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like the creation of like echo chambers, and you only hear one thing over and over. But what you mentioned about like the sharks and jaws, I didn't know that, and like I can totally see that happening. About like you see something that throws you, and like then you seek that thing out to like get rid of it, which is honestly kind of like crazy to think that like could happen. But people are sometimes irrational, like with social media and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, anyway, so are you ready to go into your section about what you said?
Yeah, I would. And so when it came down to the question, who has the power in participatory culture, I didn't think it was a simple answer, and I decided to, in a way, look against either the creator or the user who's taking in the attention. I believe the platform holds the power through exploitation and empowerment. And one thing that came to mind to me was reaction culture on like YouTube or something. There's so many of these famous creators where they, in a way, through they look at trends they start making content either in a like relieving way or to get people together or just to be like funny or make fun of the content or just give their opinion because that's what they feel matters. And that kind of gives the idea that the creators of these content have the freedom to put out whatever they want, and the audience also in a way has the power to engage with that, to like join in with others in a way. And let me just look real quick. And then this kind of model puts everything into like circulation, revolving set topics. And you think obviously it's the creators and the audience that are interacting with each other most of the time, but it's almost always these platforms that are pushing certain topics, certain content that brings in the money. They want people to click on the videos no matter what, whether it's something they're angry about, something they're like happy to be a part of. They want people on their platforms. So they have complete power to influence the entire market on their platforms. And that's something you don't necessarily think of, but it's something that these creators have to think of. They need to know what kind of content to stay at the top is going to keep them there. They need to plan their tone, what message, what audience they're trying to reach. All of that goes in to just making one video. And you don't realize that as the viewer. You just take in this content and you reiterate it, you share it around. And once more, it just gives the idea that the power is in the people, but you don't see what's going on in the background, what's influencing the people you're listening to as a person. And you see that like mid-tier creators and influencers, they don't always get this empowerment through content like that. It's always like the big names in the market that are getting supported financially or like through bonuses through these companies that are giving them like, hey, promote this kind of content, will maybe put you on like the trending page or something like that to spread more messages that we know will bring in more likes, more comments, more shares. And then the creators kind of in a way thinking, all right, well, this is coming to me, I'm going to generate more money with these views. But little do they know who's getting most of this money. The creators of the services.
Yeah, that kind of almost relates back to what I was talking about with the trends and stuff. Like these big creators may start these trends, but these smaller creators who like maybe make like a good portion of their income for like the middle tier creators, they're probably making like maybe like a few $1,000s like every few months or so from YouTube, which may or other social media platforms, which may be a decent amount for them. Like a few $1,000s can make a difference in your life for sure. So they're gonna just follow these trends, even if they don't necessarily want to talk about it. They may do something on these trends like the 100 humans versus one gorilla trend I was talking about, where some people might not care, but they're just going to talk about it anyway because it's popular right now.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like some people follow trends, if they don't want to, like you said, basically. And I feel that once you're established, you can you have like a name for yourself. You can possibly like branch out into like other things that like aren't as big or as trending, because like people already have like a they already support you, already have for backing to like do that basically, and that's which makes it like hard for like small creators to like grow because they feel the need to like do what everyone else is doing, so like following their own niche.
All right, do you want to do your section now?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of did feel similar to like what Hayden said, like how the power is like almost everyone has power basically, because I feel like the users can like be what makes a platform. Like you can be like a platform, but like if you don't have like lots of users or people who keep going back to your platform, you're like probably gonna fail. And platforms can like regulate what their users post basically. Like you can't post adult content on some sites or sites to go against like community guidelines basically say that like you have to like basically censor yourself sometimes, especially like in regards to like YouTube, like the monetization and like not saying like curse words or anything that like mentions the pandemic or something I guess. And what I like explored basically was like another trend that I participated in like a long time ago. It was like this draw this in your style trend or DTYS, where like users post like their art and they put the hashtag DTIYS, and that gets like other artists to like draw the art in their style, and then they usually like share that art that they did, and that usually like is like this cycle of like sharing and like growth, I guess, because it brings more attention to like the user's art, the original user's art. It also gets more users interacting with it, and that makes the platform kind of like bigger, I guess. As like the more art is shared, there's like more engagement, and that's like pretty cool, I guess. And yeah,
Yeah, like there are different like tiers of like art and stuff, like the different styles that people like copy in their own because like a lot of the time we take inspiration from a lot of different things to create our own ideas. Like there are some very popular like art styles like Studio Ghibli's art style, for example, which people may copy, and that's going to be less weird to copy a style that's super popular because it's so popular that it's maybe considered like a common style. Whereas if you're copying like someone who's a little more niche, like it's better to credit them because you're copying like someone who like has their own unique art style but doesn't have that same like established like power and like bigness. Like there's also like even if you go back to classic painters who are dead and stuff like Pablo Picasso or something like there are lots of people who make like artwork inspired by Pablo Picasso, but they like don't necessarily need to say it was inspired by him just because he's such like a cultural milestone.
I actually really like what you just said right there about like in a way inspiration will it preserves creativity and if you kill like the inspiration and you take that away from those aspiring to do different to open everyone else's minds. I mean, if you take that away, everybody just starts coming and becoming the same in a way. They start following just the same trends. Nobody wants to be like out of the loop. And I mean, it's something you kind of even see like you've seen nowadays. People are scared to be different in a way. They're not as like open to trying to like in a way fail. And you don't see that. Like people aren't doing different things in their own way. They're doing what they think is right. So I actually really like what you just brought up about the inspiration.
Yeah, like I said, like we kind of absorb like everything we see to make new stuff. Like for example, like Lord of the Rings made like a lot of like the things we consider like common fantasy stuff, like elves and stuff, popular. But if you ask someone before that time, they wouldn't like know what like an elf is. It'd be like an obscure like fairy tale thing. And like it's reaching back to like human history and these like things from thousands of years ago and like forming it into these new ideas and new cultures. And now people make things inspired by Lord of the Rings. So it's very similar in its way. But in our modern day of like social media and stuff, those trends of like consuming and like chopping up things and making your own thing are faster. And even artificial intelligence can do that in a way, although it's not the same way as humans do it.
yeah, for sure. You mentioned like Studio Ghibli earlier, and like I saw like a lot of people like using AI art to copy the Studio Ghibli style, and in some ways it's kind of like soulless, I guess, because like AI art is its own thing. It's like it takes other people's artwork and it's just not creative in a way. And I feel if you want to like um have like art review, you should like probably draw it yourself or commission of like other artists, and yeah, because like making art is not really profitable, but it's pretty nice to like do.
Yeah, like if I were to draw something in a Studio Ghibli style, it wouldn't just be the same as like ChatGPT generating a Studio Ghibli
Yeah,
image. I would put my own spin on it because it's me who's drawing it. It wouldn't just be a Studio Ghibli style; it'd be its own new style that's inspired by Studio Ghibli.
yeah, and doing it yourself, you can like add your own elements into it. Basically, like we just said, yeah, like you can add your own creativity, your own like sense of like work, like things like line weight and way color or like shade can make an art piece pop, basically.
Yeah, and that really covers the essentials about like about like how these like media trends like spread and stuff, and who holds the power in controlling them. I feel like. All right, and I feel like that concludes our podcast.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.